Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Pitafi. Once again, we are going to talk about politics of Pakistan, especially because yesterday we had a by-election in Pakistan on federal seats as well as the provincial seats. The number game was quite interesting. When it comes to PTI, it evidently could not maintain two of very important seats that were actually won by Imran Khan. One from Bannu, one from Lahore. But in Punjab, it was quite visible that there is a very small, minuscule perhaps, but there is a shift, at least in retaining the numbers. There are many reasons that can be attributed to this change of winds, so to speak. One very important aspect is that maybe because the federal government and the provincial government, their leaders could not participate in the electoral process, conversing and all. That is why perhaps the kind of drama and the kind of charisma that is needed was lacking. The other interpretation perhaps is that Shehbaz Sharif, the leader of PMLN, was recently apprehended and he is confined at this moment. So after his internment, there might be some sympathy vote. But the truth remains that even on day one, we knew NA 131 in Lahore, where there was virtual dead heat when Imran Khan won it. We knew that the other candidate was very strong. And if a person who is not germane to Lahore's culture, Lahore's politics, if that person is not contesting, maybe the seat will be lost. There was a possibility that Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, would have maintained that seat instead of his current Miawali seat, but that didn't happen. Today we are going to do three things. First, understand what happened, what was the quantum of change and the transformation, if there is any, and how does it shape the parliamentary politics in the country and also then policies as well. In order to help us understand these matters, we are joined by Imtiaz Warrich, senior advocate, is a regular on this show. Thank you very much for being part of the program. Next to him, first on this show, Raja Faisal, a political analyst. Thank you very much for being part of the program as well. And next to him, you recognize him quite well. He has been a regular on this channel, this program as well. Irfan Ghauri, a senior journalist. Thank you very much for your time. Irfan Ghauri sahab, with the permission of panel, I have to start with you because you are the reporter on the panel. So I have to understand what happened and what was the quantum of change.
As you mentioned in your intro, the two seats that were, rather three seats, I would call. I mean, the seat in Attak that was earlier won by a PTI candidate. So that was also, I mean, PTI lost that as well. So in total, you would say that three of these seats, which originally belonged to are won by PTI and now won by PMLN, or one of them is Bannu seat that has gone to MMA.
Originally, it was MMA seat.
It was MMA's seat. Similarly, the seat which you mentioned about the Lahore NA 121.
There are two very important seats in Lahore, NA 124. That actually was with PMLN even before the election, vacated by Hamza Shehbaz.
And they retained that.
Yeah.
But the other seat that was won by Saad Rafiq, it had been his seat. I mean, he had been winning from there. Last time, the margin of victory was very narrow. And then the candidate...
Probably in hundreds, right? Not even in thousands.
Yeah, it was, I think, just 500 or 600 something
Amazing
votes.
that in this democracy, this also happens, that you can have that kind of dead heat.
Yeah. So the debate is it because of the policies or the reasons you mentioned?
I didn't ask you about the policies.
Yes, but
that is my next question.
Yeah, but is it that, or it is because of maybe the internal policies of PTI? The allocation of ticket, the candidate who was contesting on that seat, we all know that he had applied for PMLN ticket in the general election.
Okay.
So now when he has joined PTI and then awarding that that ticket to him instead of and it is being widely reported now that the local chapter, they were not in favor of that. Once the local chapter is not favoring that.
No, but
So of course
I hope you, hang on. I hope you haven't forgotten the general elections. At that time, there was, whenever you gave, handed out a ticket, there was some local chapter that was at that time also protesting. This is how PTI has been functioning, because it is recently a relatively recent party. It might have that kind of mechanism, that kind of jealousies, doesn't change the dynamics. I'm saying it because here's another example. NA124 again. You brought somebody from another city, from Murray, Shahid Khan Abbasi, but he didn't have that kind of difficulty, did he?
No, but that was a very safe seat.
Okay. What do you mean by very safe seat?
I mean, the winning margin over there, that had been, I mean, originally that was the seat which is, that had always been, traditionally been with
Right.
PMLN, and again, in the general elections, I mean, there was the victory margin was too high, but here it was very small margin.
Right.
And then the candidate
a
over
good
there,
point.
he is the native, and he has.
That's a good point. Let me go to bring in actually Raja Faisal. Raja Faisal, the question is, when you saw that there was virtually dead heat, when the margin was so close, usually people don't go for vacating that seat. They retain that one. Imran Khan Sahab, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, vacated that seat. What does it tell you about PTI's politics? Was it a miscalculation?
Well, indeed, it was a miscalculation. Plus, there is another aspect to it. I think Imran winning a seat from Lahore's constituency, which is considered as, the stronghold of PMLN when it comes to the politics. And traditionally, it has been their stronghold. And if Imran did collect a seat from there, that was through his charisma or through his own personality, which actually gained him. Why? Because it was a wave as well. In the general election, it was all about the wave. If you look at the wave, the momentum of the wave was towards PTI. That's why they collected so many seats, and they won the election. And when it came to that particular seat against Khwaja Saad Rafiq, no doubt he's a very strong competitor when it comes to elections. Why? Because this is not yesterday's or
no, I get that.
Previous
I get
election.
that. But you are helping me. You are actually explaining the 2018 elections, general elections. I'm asking you to explain the decision of vacating it after. Why?
It was a very bad decision, but if you look at the other seats as well, he has been, he had 5
You said
seats.
something?
I'm saying, how can we say that it's a bad decision? I mean, without taking into account that
Because you
earlier-
lost?
No, but the thing is, how would you be sure that, I mean, the constituency which he has retained, that had been his native constituency. He thinks that it is my native constituency, and for the
I'm
two
sorry,
consecutive elections, if
how much time has the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, spent in Miawali? And how much time has he spent
that
in
is
Lahore?
the reason, that is what
No,
I'm
how
saying.
much time has he spent in
but the-
Lahore?
but the
He has
thing
been
is-
brought up in
No,
Lahore.
but
It is his city.
Lahore is-
Vacating a seat there, I mean, on this ground, doesn't add up.
That's what I was about to add. If we look at the 2013 elections, there was one seat he did not vacate, and that was of Rawalpindi. Basically, Imran Khan, he very well knew that there are 2 major cities, or let's make it 3, that where PMLN, it has a clear ground in every election whenever it came to Punjab in election. Lahore, Faisalabad and Rawalpindi.
Okay.
In the previous election, what we saw was marginally he won one of the seats of Rawalpindi, and he did not vacate it. And in this election, why I say that it was a bad decision on Imran Khan's part,
Or
he
his
should have-
advisors or his parties.
yeah, he should have kept that seat of Lahore. Why? Because just to give an ownership to Lahore, that yes, he belongs there.
Okay, that is a fair point. But Imtiaz Vadai Sahab, it actually brings us to a bigger question. Simultaneously, along with this program, I host a phone and Urdu program as well, where people keep on putting their questions. And one regular question is, why does Pakistan's constitution allow somebody to contest from 4 or 5 constituencies? is it not wastage of public exchequer? Why allow this? Can it be changed legally and constitutionally?
Of course, there's no harm in changing that. But at least they can confine to one province at least. And
How?
I will also first I will also comment on this question you asked.
You don't want to answer me?
Yeah. No, I'm going to answer. Okay. But first is that the decision was, I guess, overconfidence at the part of Imran Khan.
Okay.
He thought that maybe because of his name, who else ever will be there contesting election on the ticket of PTI, he will be elected.
Okay.
So one thing is very much clear
No,
now.
had it been the case, Waleed would have been a choice, a better choice, because he was new.
Of course.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. Waleed Iqbal.
Yeah.
And
So-
he was promised that.
He was promised that as well.
So
and
coming
that was
back to
the-
your
So all of a sudden, if it is not about that, if it is not about anything but confidence, then why go for an electable rather than going for somebody new?
Yes, of course. So this is proved now. You see, in general election, electables who came to and joined PTI, they were failure. You see,
Okay.
they could not get any success. Most of them. Most of them.
You're talking about a party which is 90%, which comprises of
Yeah, of
90% people borrowed from other parties.
Yeah,
So
of
what?
course, of course. So
So not all of them were
so
defeated.
one thing is this, and the second thing is coming back to your question. Yes, of course.
I changed the question and then you come back to this one. Okay, go ahead.
I guess that because the Constitution has given this, you can say that permission, that if a leader like Imran Khan, like Nawaz Sharif, or like Asif Zardari, he wants to give impression that he is a national leader and he can go and conduct elections in other provinces as well. So the same thing I think Imran Khan did. He was
then
to
allow
test-
them to keep all the seats?
No, that is not possible because if
Why
one
not?
person, one seat, you see that.
Change that.
That is the principle.
I mean, if it is
No,
the
I agree with
principle
you.
that you
I
have
agree
to
with
say
you.
that the Prime Minister should belong to all 4 provinces, then give him the seats.
No, actually, you see that generally it does happen even in the time of Zulfikar Bhutto.
Okay.
He also contested on several.
And two wrongs make a right.
No, I'm not saying this is wrong or right. This is maybe impression of the legislators at the time of the Constitution. But I
the question
I agree
is
with you.
money
I
that
agree
you
with
spend.
you. I agree with you. I'm coming to that side as well.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you because this is wastage of time, wastage of money, wastage of efforts, wastage of usage of machinery of the government
Yeah.
and state. So
And I have particularly, I've talked about so many other constituencies. I haven't talked about where I cast my vote. And Imran Khan won there. And yesterday there was again election there.
So-
and I, frankly, if I'm a voter, I feel hurt that he didn't actually retain my constituency.
yeah, that's also another aspect of that. So
No, I'm talking about myself. I'm not generalizing. it.
Generally, people they also think like that. You see that that's why he kept the retained the seat of Miawali because giving an attachment with Miawali people because he belongs.
Next
to that
time I will vote
original.
in Miawali so that my vote is kept.
So it should be done like this that one should be confined in the same province. Maybe
Why?
Where he has
No, but are you not?
nationality card.
I
where
mean,
he has,
you might be very popular in Karachi, whereas you have spent most of your life in Lahore. So, are you going to stop that person from contesting from Karachi?
no, if he has to leave that seat after.
No, why can't
after
we
the whole
have
process.
a simple calculus? Contest 2 seats at a max, not more than that.
So this is
Why not one
This can be happen. This
It
can
can be
happen.
1 seat also,
Why
but
not
people
one
say
seat?
that at least give me
At
this
least
much odds.
opportunity, a chance. You see that maybe he will lose 1 seat and he should have to go
No,
there.
if
become
you have
being
lost,
leader.
that means you have lost.
so-
the thing
so-
that should not be on public exchequer. That is
Yeah.
the question.
So there is no bar.
That's-
There is no
And I'm
bar.
coming to the exchequer question as well.
There is no bar in making an amendment in the constitution because if legislators all the members they want to make amendment in like that can be done.
Yeah, but that is not done.
One very important thing I
That
want
is
to
not done.
That is because of their interest. You see, no
Who's? Lawmakers.
leaderships.
Every parties.
Because everybody wants, you see, the senior leadership in every party, they
The party
contest election at least.
sir, with
at
due
least couple
respect,
of
the
seats.
parties are supposed to represent my sentiment, me being a citizen.
When you elect a party, they are your representatives, certainly.
Okay, so they should be reflecting my concerns,
They should reflect.
and that means that exchequer shouldn't be spent on such wasteful things.
They should reflect, because when people are giving their votes to a party, and that party emerge as a popular party,
Okay.
so they should take care of the wishes and wills of people.
No, but regarding this very question, how many seats you can contest, do we have any idea how much money goes into one constituency's election, Ghauri sahab?
Sir, the thing is that
Any estimates?
as per law and as per constitution, you have to be an enrolled voter.
Okay.
And you should be 25 years of age or above that to contest an election.
Enrolled voter in that constituency
No,
or any?
anywhere. So, in that perspective, you can contest from anywhere. I mean, if your vote is registered in Islamabad, that doesn't mean that you cannot contest in Karachi. So, law doesn't bar you.
Geographically, it doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
And that's for the National
And
Assembly.
that is for the
Provincial
National
is
Assembly.
different.
Yeah, provincial is different.
should be citizen
because
of
you don't
Pakistan.
have
Yes,
divided
should be citizen of
constituency.
Pakistan, and but now the question is that when these leaders and many other people, when they contest from multiple constituencies, like this time it has happened that now you had elections in 37 constituencies. Most of these constituencies were the ones from where the people vacated. They were elected from more than one seat and they vacated. But the thing is that your question is how much money. I think it is in crores. How many crores? I don't know. 25 crores or something like that. That is an estimate. That is from the public exchequer you spend. The thing is that there was this debate is a new debate now in
250
Pakistan.
million per constituency.
Yes.
And you're talking about private money, or you're talking
No,
about
I'm the
public
government
action?
money, not the private
Okay,
money, because
okay,
the whole machinery and all that is involved.
Securing it as well.
Securing it and all that. So
You
it's a
have to even
huge,
give them a lunch as well.
huge. And now the question is that why it is on the expense of the general public, the exchequer
voter, the taxpayer.
and the taxpayer. Like you mentioned that if you voted in a constituency to a leader and he vacates that, how would you be feeling?
Should I give you another hypothetical?
Sure.
A very big one. Irfan Ghauri is one of the richest men in the country.
Yeah.
And he is so popular
Yeah.
that he is popular in every constituency.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it. He contests in every constituency of the country. There's no bar on this.
No.
And he wins in every one of them.
Yeah.
Now what happens?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The thing is that,
Irfan Ghauri owns the country.
No,
either
but he has to vacate 99.9% seats of the country.
Sir, either you should, either it should be a limit, 1 or 2 constituencies,
Okay.
or it should be in a way that if you think that you are such a popular leader and you have such a huge following, then in case of vacation of that seat, I think that party, it should be contributing to those expenses. This
Okay.
is my personal opinion.
Right.
That,
Good idea, yes.
Yeah, that,
It's a good
that
idea.
can be a,
Like you do it in the case of recounts. The first count is on
Yes.
the house,
Yeah.
and then you start paying it if you want to
if
have
you
more
want,
clarity.
and even if you go to the tribunals over there, if you want to get your votes the votes verified, Nadra had done that. So this is one of the proposals. Again, it depends on, since the law allows, that's why they take advantage. But does that law needs to be changed? I think it should be changed. That's my
Okay.
point of view.
And who's going to change it?
The parliament, of course. Not me, not you. of
No, any
course.
political party. Can you
No, I don't think
identify
they
the motivator behind
Sir,
it? Because the current party keeps on pushing for reforms. And one thing, one has to actually really salute them, that they have made it plain that they want to cut fat. This is an example of fat that goes waste.
No, but the thing is that if that was when that electoral laws they were being discussed and Election Act 2017 was passed.
You make
and then-
laws only once in your lifetime?
No, but the thing is there was no such proposal that is at least in my knowledge, that any of the parties they had proposed that. But now since this debate has started, the people have started talking about So it can be, I mean, it's not
Right, right.
It can be done.
Let me go back to Raja Faisal. What does this election change?
It has changed a lot, I must
Like
say.
what? Apart from people.
If we look at the previous by-elections or any single election which had been in the past, the government, it always used to interfere when it comes to if we take the example of previous
You're
government.
talking about campaigning.
Yes, previous government, Mia Nawaz Sharif.
He was
and then-
stopped by the election commission, was he not?
He was stopped, but by then he kept on claiming, making huge claims in the constituencies. He went there and he said 2 billion for you and 3 billion for you.
Yeah,
He was
because he had money at that time.
he had money
The
at that time.
current
What
government
kind of
doesn't,
money?
at this moment, it doesn't have money. Tomorrow it might.
But if
so
we-
who knows?
But if we go there now, the same constituencies where these sort of elections were being held, if we take an example of Jahangir Tareen's by-election of the previous government, when he went there, he made large claims there, but after the elections, nothing was done. Fair enough, he didn't win from there, but still, during the election campaigns, the slogans he was doing, or the money he was offering just to buy the voters in his favor.
Jahangir Tareen.
Jahangir, no, not Jahangir.
You
I'm
cannot
talking-
prove that, right?
No, I'm talking about Nawaz Sharif. That he was actually.
You can't prove that either.
We can never prove that. That's where the
not?
problem is.
I mean, you're a journalist, an analyst and a journalist. He's a journalist. I'm a journalist. We keep on talking about these matters. Why don't we go out and try proving it?
Well, it's not our responsibility. We can only point
You're
out.
a citizen. Hang on. You're a citizen.
Faisal, the thing is that we have to understand that earlier, I mean, democracy is an evolving process, and we know it.
Yeah.
Earlier
Are we evolving?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's a fair question.
In a way, I'll give you the example.
Which way?
Till I mean 5 years back, 6 years back, 7 years back, election commission was so important. I should not be using that word, but this is a fact. Now,
Didn't have any power.
I salute those district election commissioners who took notice of anybody. I mean, if it's a minister or anybody who is barred to take part in the campaign. Earlier, these things were there in the laws and the code of conduct of election commission, but nobody bothered to implement that. If you can recall, an election commissioner, a district election commissioner in Jhelum, he was the first one. It was a by-election 2 years, 3 years back when Fawad Chaudhry, I mean the current the
Information
minister, he was contesting from that area, and Imran Khan, he visited the constituency during the election campaign. He issued notices.
Okay.
Hamza Shahbaz visited that constituency. He issued notices. So media started criticizing.
Prime Minister Imran Khan at that time was not Prime Minister.
He was not Prime Minister.
He was merely party chief.
But at that time,
And an MNA.
as per the code of conduct of elections, it was the MNAs and MPs, they were also barred. That was written.
Why?
That's a separate thing. It's a
Let me ask the advocate here.
It was part of the code of conduct.
Why?
Now, I mean,
Are we not allowed to question all of these things?
No, you are allowed. But the thing is,
Thank you.
either you do not approve that code of conduct, or once it is approved, this code of conduct it is finalized
So
after
you
consultation
have made
with
the point that there are people who have actually contributed immensely to this kind of change, where now people, especially office holders, are not allowed to go
Yes,
into
that happens this time.
Okay. Why?
One thing I would like to add, one small thing.
I came to you, then I went back. I haven't been here. Let me go back to Advocate Saab. So your take, why exactly is it that an MNA is not allowed to go to the constituency? I wouldn't mind if a Prime Minister...
No, he is allowed, sir.
If a Prime Minister was allowed to visit that place, right? Because if he's not spending money, he's just going there with his own personal charisma. Why exactly is there a problem here?
Actually, you see that all the people who are public functionaries like government people and even MNAs and senators, they are actually public servants.
Okay.
they come in the definition of public servants.
And the person
being
who's
public
contesting
servants-
is fighting for something else.
And public servant means that they have to follow all the ethical, whatever has been settled and decided.
Ethical standards.
And being MNA of the ruling party, they have influence, of course, and it is felt that if they will go there in the constituency, they can use their influence there. And at the
What do you
cost
mean
of,
by
at the
influence?
at the cost
the
of
level
at the
playing
cost of
field.
at the cost of government exchequer, state exchequer, because
No,
they
they
are trying-
control exchequer, right?
because they are getting
Control money.
because they are getting salaries and these type of things, and so that's why
When
at the
Prime
cost
Minister of Pakistan travels in his personal capacity, it is his personal capacity. Can he not?
no, Prime Minister of Pakistan, if he's traveling in the personal capacity, but even then he's Prime Minister at that time.
Right.
Okay.
So it doesn't change anything.
It's
Is
unacceptable.
It does.
So
sir.
How?
So second thing
You
is
control the money, you control the administration, you control that nobody gives any undue favors, get the highest standards possible, and then let anybody go to the constituency.
Once-
What is harming you?
Okay, I'm just another way. You see, in recent matter like a case of DPO Pakpatan.
Yeah.
What happened? DPO Pakpatan was called by Chief Minister of the province. He is Chief Executive of the province.
Yeah.
But that was also objected.
Okay. So
You see-
I don't want to go into the
Farooq
depth
sir,
because
Farooq
it is
sir.
being heard in the court.
Well,
right?
Farooq sir, but the thing is that
But
It's-
if there is
but
any
you are saying if you
deviation,
control-
then they are actually watchdogs. They are courts. There is Election Commission of Pakistan. You can control that. My only problem is that if a person is elected Prime Minister, otherwise write in the law that no politician will be allowed to become the Prime Minister. If you're a politician, you have a charm, you have a charisma. America's president goes to compare rallies. Doesn't change anything. Please go ahead.
Sir, you need to provide level playing field to everybody when it is an election.
Like go back and hide.
No,
and
it is
pretend
not.
you
It
don't
is
exist.
not. It is not. It is not so. In Pakistan, when you're talking about the controlling the public exchequer thing and those watchdogs and all that,
Yeah.
we all know that how efficient our institutions are. So in that case,
Excuse
just
me.
take an example.
Excuse me.
Just let me.
Election
complete it.
Commission played a vital role recently in the transfer posting of the IG Punjab.
Punjab.
That is the first time they have
They
have
did, right?
they have done that.
They did.
So similarly, once I mean this is now either you change the law, or if it is in the law that the president, the prime minister, the ministers and the advisors, they are not allowed. The reason I have told you that if I give you an example, if it's a local bodies election, if it is just councillor, if the prime minister visits a constituency, smaller constituency like, I mean, maybe he's his relative or is good friend of him, do you think it would not make an impact?
How?
It would.
How?
Sir, the people here, I mean, when you have
You're
when
talking
you have
about
money,
kinship?
no, the
You're
other
talking
thing
about
is
influence?
the resources. When the
His
people think
presence
that
would create an influence.
I mean, this person is so influential.
America's president goes to campaign rallies. Hang on. He is not the first president. He might be the most controversial one, but there have been previous people who have gone, have participated in campaigning and didn't change a thing.
I would
President
rather
Obama,
America and Pakistan are dying
President
a parallel
Obama not
Patafi
only
Sahab, I'm sorry to
endorsed
say.
Hillary Clinton, he was part of her campaigning.
Patafi
Didn't
Sahab,
change
drawing
anything.
We are talking
comparison
about
between
Pakistan.
Pakistan
Why
and
not?
America.
We are all
Pakistan.
human beings.
No,
Why
we
can't
are
we
human
compare?
beings.
We
But
will
I
go
mean,
to that stage.
Okay, going back to Raja Faisal, you were saying, what else has changed?
Well, what I would say in this, I think Ghauri Saab, whatever he has
Your
said,
first
he's right.
accomplishment that you mentioned is now contentious. Now tell me about the second growth, the second progress.
I would go with the both of them. Firstly, when he says that he shouldn't be visiting, why there is a sort of influence that gets created, unintentionally that gets created in the constituency.
You want to go with both of
And
them?
I
You want to go with both of them, right?
Yes,
Are
I
you
want
planning to join People's Party?
No, I don't want to.
Okay, no, I get that point. But what else
Legally
was achieved
speaking-
yesterday? What else changed?
Legally speaking, Warrich Saab, as he said, that it is unethical of a prime minister to go
Why?
here. Here, we should appreciate Prime Minister Imran Khan that he has set a precedent which should be followed in Pakistan, in a country like Pakistan.
Okay.
He did not go to any of the
was
constituencies
not allowed.
where by-election was.
Whether
Well,
he's
the
allowed or
previous-
not,
previous
the
prime
previous
ministers were-
ones did try.
Previous prime
And they
ministers,
were then
they were
asked.
disallowed.
Nobody was taking notice of that. Now the
They
thing
did.
is that
They did.
no, there was
There
no.
were notices issued back in those days.
But that started just 2 years, 3 years back.
Okay.
Before that,
No, I'm
the
talking
law
about
was
2-3
there.
years ago.
Yeah, but
and I'm talking about the previous Prime Minister and the Prime Minister who
then
came
onwards,
before him.
This process, this practice has stopped.
Okay.
Before that,
Okay, I
everybody
have to move beyond this point, and I have to ask Raja Faisal again, what else changed yesterday?
Well, first of all,
Does it change the composition of the Federal Assembly or the provincial assemblies?
in terms of numbers, it did not create any change, I must say. But two parties, I would say, they have the upper hand now when it comes to PMLQ. They have proven that they are actually standing firmly their ground, the ground they have covered. Plus, they have the capacity to increase it. They have showed. Secondly,
Within their own footprint.
PMLN, I would say that in my previous appearance in PTV World, I actually mentioned that, PMLN, it was shouting while Shahbaz Sharif
Okay,
was captured.
ILM.
They were saying that, this is against us, it would not help us. But I told her that day that, of course, it would help. It would be a sentiment which would be created in the stronghold of Lahore, which has actually proven. Plus, if you take the seat of Rawalpindi, it was marginally won by.
No, but
nephew.
once again, you have gone back. And first of all, I have to actually tell you, earlier I introduced you as a political analyst, but now you have started punditry. Now you're quoting yourself in your previous appearances. So you are a political pundit now, right? Apart from that, with due respect, I was talking about
The nationalism.
the outcome. Analyzing the outcome, not the election itself now. We have moved beyond that. So what happens now?
It
doesn't change anything.
Two very important people coming back to National Assembly. This is very important. Khwaja Saad Rafiq and the former Prime Minister Abbasi. He's coming back to.
How are they important?
They are very important. Why? Because they would be the more vocalist inside the Parliament. They would be
More vocal?
They would be more vocal in the Parliament, and they would be
They had Khaja Asif, but have you heard any sound coming from him?
well, more there are, dangerous it is
No,
for
but he
PTR.
hardly. You haven't seen Khaja Asif speaking the way he used to. There are umpteen other people who are already sitting, but they are not that vocal.
But I believe these two people, they would give more strength to the opposition.
What is the role of Shahid Khaqan Abbasi in the National Assembly, especially when the leader of opposition and head of PMLN is behind bars and we don't know whether he is coming back to the assembly or not?
Well, I guess that Khaqan Abbasi's return into the assembly is very important thing, and as it has been said by my colleagues. So, number one, Khaja
How?
Saad Rafiq, because
No,
of
how
his
is-
stature, number one, of his stature. He is former Prime Minister of Pakistan. And in present scenario, when Mia Nawaz Sharif has been convicted, and he has further two references which are going to be announced about the, judgment about those references in the courts. And he is in trouble. Mia Shahbaz Sharif is also behind the bar. So at this moment, there was, there was a acute shortage of, a leadership of that level, which Khaqan Abbasi can fill the gap, I guess. Number one. Your question,
Not Khaja Asif?
Khaja Asif
Because
is,
you remember there were days when at the very start people were saying that there are going to be one leader of opposition at the center and one leader of opposition
There are
in
two.
Punjab. And in Punjab, Khaja Saad Rafiq might be the leader of opposition. At the center, it might be Khaja Asif.
no, the situation is quite different now. You see, Khaja Asif is a little controversial, I tell you.
How?
In past, there were two groups. One was anti-Khaja Asif group,
Chaudhry Nisar.
and others as well.
Chaudhry Nisar,
there was
does
not
he,
only no.
is he still part of the party?
Joy Nisar
Vibes that
is
he might come back on the scene very soon.
He's abroad, right?
Achha, okay.
He is.
So what changed this? I'm also, I want to comment on that. Yes, there are two things which I observed. That number one, the morale of PMLN and its workers
Is down?
is improved now
Now, improved.
because of these by-elections.
Okay.
And although practically, if we talk about the seats, PTI got 6 seats because 2 seats of PMLQ. Those are also with the support of PTI.
Yeah.
And I will not give much credit to PMLQ because the support of PTI, if there was no support of PTI, there may be difficulty for PMLQ to retain those seats.
Tomatoes, sir. They are part of an alliance.
So
whether you give credit
Tractor,
here or
so
there,
trend
they are
tractor.
together.
So second thing is this, that now because there's change in morale of the PMLN workers and leadership, because these elections, the outcome of these elections, they have given boost up their morale, and because of that, that will be reinforced.
I'm glad that you have brought up the issue of morale, because morale might be important. But what happens when the former Prime Minister, Mian Nawaz Sharif, goes to the election booth to cast his vote, is returned, he goes very late, and he has forgotten his ID card to cast a vote? What effect does it have on the morale of the voter?
Yes, that is also. I
You
guess
have to comment on that.
I guess the senior leadership, they should be more responsible and they should organize themselves while going and discharging their functions wherever they are going. They should be prepared for that. The same thing happened, you see a couple of times with Imran Khan as well. So
No, that happened in the parliament. That is separate thing. You're talking about polling station,
Yeah.
where your vote might actually elect the next, MNA or MPA.
no, he may have excused that he's under that trauma still because his wife has lost.
That trauma, okay.
Maybe.
No, I thought that since he has been to the, confinement and come back.
And the second thing which I want to comment here, that the process of accountability.
Okay.
So this by-election also little bit has dent on that process as well, because people elected those, to PMLN-Q, and especially Khaja Saad Rafiq, he is also being interrogated by NAB, and he has returned to the National Assembly. So this gives impression that the people of Pakistan, at least in that constituency, they are supporting to Khaja Saad Rafiq. Whether
No,
he
does
has,
it not mean that you and I are basically failing to educate people? You are a man of law. It is your job to tell people how law functions and how corruption is bad, what is good and what is wrong, right? And it is my job to report and tell people what is important now, that now one cannot afford to allow any kind of assumed or real corruption in the country.
actually there are two factors. Number one factor is, as you are talking about, that is ethical factor. Okay. If everybody knows what is bad and what is good. Generally, people know that.
Yeah.
And
Not
since-
in this situation.
And the second thing is that they have their own interests, personal interests.
Like
So
what?
now the situation is different because people are watching mostly our personal interests.
Okay, how does Khaja Saad Rafiq deliver on personal interests when he is not in power, when he doesn't even have perhaps access to his own funds because he is being held accountable or accounted for, and when his party is also, there is this impression that it is marginalized or demoralized? How does he serve anybody's personal interest?
No. Actually, to whom he has already served, you see, their personal interests, they have given their support to him, and in order to show them their solidarity with him.
You're talking about people of Pakistan?
No,
Or you're talking about the
people of
elected?
his constituency, I must say. I'm not talking about Pakistan. And you know that there's a ripened case against Khaja Saad Rafiq, and which is pending with NAB. Even then, people elected them.
Does that people include the people who were employed in Pakistan Railway as well in the previous government?
Did he employ something like 500,000 people there?
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
And Pitafi, one thing we are missing.
Not everybody from a constituency is part of
One
railway.
thing- about the personal
One thing
interest.
is we are missing the price hike of gas The CNG, this is also a very important factor. And in some other channel, in Urdu channel, while commenting on this, I given my, I'm not pundit, I'm not political pundit,
But you are, you're legal pundit.
It's not bad to be pundit.
but I shared with the people and viewers about my apprehension that this price hike will also
Have an impact?
have impact over this by-elections.
Okay. But that again brings us back to how policies are being made. Ghauri Sahab, it is very important to see that people were saying that maybe the decision to go to IMF was being deferred because you had to have these by-elections first. Was it any consideration at all?
Farooq Sahab, I think there were a number of factors. Many of them we have covered.
Okay. You're talking about IMF or
no,
you're talking
I'm
about
talking about, I mean, the distribution of seats, then maybe the local dynamics and all that. But more than that is once the PTI, they came to power, the people voted them in such a huge number. Okay. The people had very high expectations from them. And you had made the promises that you would be bringing them stars and I don't know whatever. But on
and
ground,
people were literally expecting that Imran Khan is going to come with Aladdin's lamp, and he's going to just rub it, and then
everything will be fine.
Can people be that unrealistic?
No, but the thing
Sadly
is,
they are.
sir, the thing is that this is the way.
I will never agree with that.
This is the way in democracy that if you fail to deliver, this popularity is not something that is permanent for you forever.
I understand, but usually you
And
judge
this is
people
how-
in 5 years, 4 years, 2 years. Here you're actually, you started the clock within 1 month. You started actually talking about their failure. I
Sir,
mean,
you
they are
had- you
just
had-
taking stock of the situation.
It is because you had raised the expectations so high that in 100 days, I mean, for a common person,
In
they were
100
thinking
days, we will
you would
start
be-
showing you the direction,
No,
not
this
the
is
results.
now what you are saying, but at that time, the people got an impression that once this party comes to power, everything would be so rosy
No, but
and
when they
everything.
presented their 100-day plan, I specifically asked them, tell me how you are planning to achieve these goals. Will we see some deliverables by the end of 100 days? They said, no, we will just set the course. That is what is being done. If there is a macroeconomic situation, a macroeconomic crisis, if there is a currency crisis, then they have to take care of that as well. And everybody knows we are not new to IMF. It happens every 5 years. And whenever we go to IMF, there are conditionalities.
Sir, in your election campaigns, you had been saying that we would,
Show me a leader who didn't.
But the thing is,
Show me a leader who didn't.
That's what
Me
I'm
Nawaz
saying.
Sharif did, Benazir Bhutto
But
did,
with the
even
current-
Pervez Musharraf did.
Sir, but with the current government, the
Kashkoon
income,
tod do.
the expectations.
To break the begging bowl. Everybody promised
They
that.
said, but the thing is that the people didn't have that much expectations. Here, the expectations, because you were, you were so actively campaigning all that. The people had, because everybody is
Since
not
you have
that educated.
spoken about the policy,
Sir,
I'm told that we are left with 2 minutes. You get the chance to comment on what he has said, and you, sir, also, very quickly.
I think people of Pakistan, they need to be realistic about these things. Within 8 weeks, you can never see a change.
not the government?
Yeah.
You can never see a change. And it will take time. Slowly and gradually, things would get changed.
Like how much time?
Well, first of all, we need to give them 100 days to tell us the direction.
No, but here's the problem. If you're going to take 45 days to even decide whether you're going to have this direction or that becomes a problem, doesn't it?
It does.
Regarding IMF,
experts say
there's one approach that is there, that you hold them accountable for the first day. And there's this approach that you cut so much slack that you forget that you delayed 45 days the decision to go to IMF, and that might have created any problem.
the very first they came into the power,
So I must say that actually you see that one factor is this as well, because this is non-traditional politician, Mr. Imran Khan. He has came into power, and now all those
Non-traditional. He has been
traditional
part of
politicians.
politics for 22 years.
No, yes, but not family politician. This is not family of politicians, you see. And
Hereditary politics,
and you see that all the forces who feel that they are a custodian of politics in Pakistan, they have united themselves, and they are using their, you see, propaganda and everything, you see.
You're talking about cooperation between People's Party and PMLN.
Of course, because they know that accountability is going
the
on.
two
Yeah,
so-called
accountability is going on.
dynastic politicians.
Accountability is going on against.
And in Bannu, everybody
Mia
was
family.
united. I
And
mean,
the
they
second,
had,
second-
Yeah.
So these are the factors.
And
I mean,
Mr.
there
Asad is also expecting that. No? So that's why they have common interests.
Okay.
So they are using all, you see, resources.
So we have to cut the government slack, or we have to demand efficiency? Or are we capable of doing both?
No, there's need that all
Very
the
quickly,
steps,
sir.
all the steps, whatever they have to take, the government has to take very carefully, minutely.
And very quickly as well.
And very quickly as well. Because they don't
How
have,
do you do that?
Because
I
they don't have
know.
much time.
But Imtiaz Wadai sahab, thank you very much for your time. Raja Faisal, thank you very much for your time as well. Thank you very much for your punditry. And Irfan Ghauri, thank you very much for your time as well. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. This discussion has to go on. But we haven't observed that significant a change or difference in the election that we would keep on talking about that for many days. I think tomorrow we'll be talking about something else. But what is important right now is that we have to focus on policy. And if there are any political concerns that are there regarding policy making, remember that this chair that you talk about, the government chair, is not easy. It is the unique dilemma of the situation that you have to be unpopular to be popular. And before taking the right kind of steps, you can never be that popular. We have to wait and see what exactly happens on the policy front. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.